So now we'll go ahead and do a preview and instructions on all the different exercises for the relaxation morning program that you're going to do every day. Now, everyone's body's a little bit different. Some things are going to be easier than others, and that's normal. Don't worry about that. But we will have modifications, making sure that for every body type, or if you have any injuries, or especially if you're in the middle of a headache or a migraine cycle, that you make sure that you don't push your body. You don't have to do it exactly the way that you're going to see Kristy do it. And we're also going to show you some different modifications. So through all of this, just make sure you only do as much as feels comfortable. If you have to take a break, drink some water, go ahead and do that. We're just going to demonstrate each one of them so you know exactly what you're looking at and listening to when you go through that, okay? So Kristy's going to come over and I'm going to go off the set and speak into the microphone so you can just hear. I'll prompt her as she shows and demos the things, okay? Hi, Kristy.
Hi.
Okay. So the first part of the protocol is when you're going to do the relaxation exercise, and that'll be all on the CD. And as you go to the next thing, that will be what's called the neck openers. And we're just going to show you, you can do this either sitting on a zafu or a pillow on the floor, or on a chair. Any type of chair is fine, as long as it's more of a not so cushy chair, but rather a nice hard-based chair that you can make sure you're not slouching down into, kind of like the one we have on set here. So as Kristy is sitting in that relaxation sitting position with the sit bones open and the spine nice and long, she's going to nice and easy just breathe into the belly and lengthen the spine. And then what she's going to do is just drop the chin toward the chest. Now she's only going as far as feels comfortable for her. If she was in the middle of a headache cycle, she would just nicely breathe. She'd tip the back of the head up toward the ceiling and maybe the chin would drop a little bit more. So you'll notice through all of the exercises, we'll have an inhale and an exhale process. As you inhale, you're always lifting and lengthening. And as you exhale, you're just dropping the chin. Pretty easy. You'll get prompts all the way through the CD, no big whoop. So on the inhale, she's going to raise back up to center. And now as she exhales, she's going to lift the chin up towards the ceiling, but she's going to keep the back of the neck nice and long. And the reason we do that, we really want to make sure that each one of the vertebrae is coming away from the next one. In any tension headache and any tightness through the sides of the neck and the jaw, this is huge. We really acknowledge that anything that's blocking in the neck is also going to prevent the head from getting through the cycle of that headache. So she's going to inhale, lift and lengthen and keep dropping her shoulders, and then she's going to look up if it feels good. Now, if her eyes, if you have any ocular pain whatsoever, you can close the eyes. You certainly don't need to raise the eyes at all. You can also do this and put an ice pack around your head and just hang out here, only as long as feels comfortable. So on the next inhale, she's going to lower back down to center, and then she's going to drop her right ear to the right shoulder. And as she does that, she's only going to go again as far as feels comfortable. And you can see that we're going to isolate the muscle on the front of the shoulder, front of the shoulder into the back of the ear. So noticing that the head's not going to go too far forward or too far back. It's going to stay right in the line of the body. So as she inhales, she's going to visualize that this muscle from the front of the shoulder into the back of the ear gets nice and long. And then as she exhales, maybe the head's going to go down just a little bit, but not too far. It's really a passive thing to open up and lengthen the whole side of the neck. So you'll do that all the way through on the CD until we say go ahead and bring your head back up to center, and then we're just going to repeat on the other side. So the left ear is going to go down to the left shoulder, and you'll notice one side is usually tighter than the other. No worries about that. Just breathe in, lift and lengthen, and as you exhale, you're going to drop your ear just a little bit more. Nice. Next inhale, come back up to center. And that's the neck opener of the series. Now what we do is open up the arms, and when we do that, the main goal for all of that is to allow the shoulders front and back and the sides to release and come into balance, because so many times we have the shoulders all the way rolled forward and it becomes very tight in that area. So we want to open those up. So what we're going to do is we're going to inhale the arms out to the sides, and the palms are going to face downward. Now it seems like that might be easy, but we know on headache days, not so easy. And we know on some other days when we're just tired, not easy at all. So what we're doing here is imagining that the armpits go up and the shoulders go down. Our whole goal is to open up this whole area. That trapezius muscle area is the big guy. When we get stressed, and why we can't fully heal is because the shoulders are all the way up into our ears. Drop them down, drop them down, drop them down. And we're lengthening nice and long. Now again, you might have to bend the elbows. Sometimes you might have to put the arms down. Eventually you'll get to the point where you can hold the arms out here. We find the connection as you're breathing in the belly, all the way up the front of the spine and the back of the spine. The shoulders become open a little bit more, all the way through the elbows, the wrists, and the tips of the fingers. There's actually energy pathways and circulation that goes all the way through. So if you have carpal tunnel issues, or if you have any issues in your hands, many times when we open up the shoulders, you're gonna feel a little bit of tingling happening. You're gonna feel that energy and that blood supply go all the way through. So we won't hold you here for very long like we're holding Kristy. But inhale, get long, and exhale, get a little bit straighter, a little bit more open through the front of the chest, the back of the chest. And again, you only do as much as feels comfortable so the shoulders aren't tight. Good. Go ahead and relax down the next inhale. Beautiful. Thanks, Kristy. Okay, the next position that we're going to do is called cat-cow pose. And this is actually a yoga pose that's meant to open up the spine. Any of the nerve endings through each one of the spinal columns connects from the head all the way through the rest of the body. So it's really important to keep the spine open. Now we're going to start in a flat back, hands and knees position. And you'll see that Kristy has her hands right underneath her shoulders. Now, depending on if you have any carpal tunnel issues or elbow or shoulder issues, just make sure this feels comfortable. Ideally, we're going to be at 90 degrees. And the shoulders, she can hike all the way up to her ears. Notice that opposite position. And then we want those to go all the way down away from her ears. So it's amazing how much further you can drop those shoulders. And all we're going to do is bring the belly button toward the spine just a little bit to flatten out the back. See the difference there? And so that might be a little bit hard to do if you have any low back issues. Again, just do the best you can. The knees are going to be right underneath the hips. So she can bring hers in just a smidge if you notice. It's going to be like a nice firm table with 4 legs. And her head's going to relax down just a little bit so her head is in alignment with the body. And the back of the neck is really important that we don't hold any tension there. The more we can open up the neck and the back, the better. Especially that area through the occiput. And that's the base of the skull. So as we start, we're just going to move her head right there. We're going to tuck the chin just a smidge so you can see that nice long back. Now with everybody, it's going to be just a little bit different depending on where your issues are. We've all got back and neck grumpiness somewhere. And so making sure that the tops of the feet are nice and relaxed onto the floor, right behind the knees. You open up the tootsies as much as you can. As you inhale, what you're going to do is open up the booty just a little bit, which is probably the first position, not usually what we're used to doing. So she's going to open up through the back of the body. We're just going to do a little bit of a pelvic tilt. And then she's going to drop the center of her body. And then she's going to lift the head if it feels comfortable. Again, if you're in the middle of a headache cycle, you go as far as feels comfortable. Maybe you drop the head if you need to. Now on the exhale, she's going to round the back like a scaredy cat. This is the cat position. Dropping the head, tucking the tail. The next exhale, we're going to reverse. So now you just work with the breath. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Good. And drop the head just a little bit more, Kristy. Really releasing the back of the neck as much as you can. Good. And just follow the breath in and out of the body. So you'll notice in this position, I call this the 100-year stretch because you can constantly feel more and more releasing. You can do this for 100 years and still find places in your back that are grumpy. So if different areas are kind of not working the best that you'd like them to, you just use the breath. Just keep breathing into those spaces and going back and forth. And so you'll just do that as many times as is right on the CD, all the way through. You can even hear the breath going in and out. Use that Nice deep belly breath. Good. So now she's coming back to flat back. And the next position that we're doing is called child's pose. So what Kristy's going to do is just bring her booty all the way back onto the heels. And the arms might go all the way forward. Now, we're going to do some modifications here because ideally what we'd like to do is get the forehead onto the floor and get some pressure in between the eyebrows. And why we do this is because that helps to stimulate the pituitary gland. And that, guy, is what tells every other gland what to do. So that's the releasing of hormones. It tells all the organs how to work together. It's a really, really important gland. It's the master guy. So right behind that is the pineal gland, and that's basically the woman partner of that pituitary. And so we like to stimulate both of those guys and allow them to come into balance. So what she can do here is take one fist on top of the other and place her forehead. This is really great if you have a frontal bone headache or on the temporal bones, putting some pressure, if it feels okay, in between the eyebrows. And she's going to tuck her chin just a little bit to let the back of the neck get nice and long. So that's modified child's pose if it's hard for your head to get all the way down to the floor. Otherwise, we place some pressure, but everyone's body is much different. So it's different whether or not you can get the front of the body or the back of the body on the floor. Great. So Kristy, go ahead and release your arms out to the sides. And now we're going to bring the booty up just a little bit higher. In case you can't get your booty up off the floor, what you can do, if you can't get it all the way down, is just put a cushion right here and lean back. And if your arms are really tight, you can always just go down on your elbows. And that's plenty. Eventually, the low back, the middle back, and the upper back are going to start working together. We're going to get long through here, and especially in the middle of a headache cycle, I know this is one of everyone's favorite poses, is you relax the head and just drop it down. And just let go of any of that tension. And if it's too much, again, you can always come out of the pose. But this is one of the really good openers. It's like a candy necklace, right? It's all pushed together. We want to open that up to get the circulation up to the head so it can heal itself. Make sense? Perfect. Thank you, Kristy. So that's the modifications for the child's pose.